The 2023-24 season is here, and there's one question everyone is asking. Who's going to be top of the table at the end of the season? So I've updated all the leagues in Football Manager and processed every single transfer in order to simulate the new season and tell you who ends up on top. We'll start with the Premier League, where for me, I think Man City are going to win the title. Arsenal should come second again. I think Chelsea will make their way up to third this season, and they'll push Man United into fourth and Newcastle into fifth. I think Liverpool will come sixth and Aston Villa in seventh. Football Manager, on the other hand, is a bit different. Liverpool up in second place, Everton in fifth, and Newcastle down in eighth. To be fair, I don't think it's actually too unrealistic. I would swap Everton and Brighton over, that feels more like what's going to happen. I don't think Wolves will finish as high as 10th place, and I don't think Burnley are going to get relegated. Sheffield United are certainly going down, and I think Luton probably will go down because they've not had the best of transfer windows. To me, it kind of feels like Luton are preparing for the Championship next season when they go down to have a team that's going to go straight back up. Although I think a lot of people are sleeping on Luton. They've gone from non-league to the Premier League in 10 seasons, and that's not an accident. There's a big argument to say they are the best run club in the country because they're just so smart from top to bottom. So I think they'll cause some surprises, but I don't think their recruitment has been quite good enough to stay in the Premier League. Now, Everton have come fifth place in Football Manager's simulation, and that's because Dominic Calvert-Lewin ends up as the top scorer this season, with Kai Havertz in second place with Harry Kane. Erling Haaland down in ninth place with just 15 goals to his name. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll have double that at least. A good season for Dominik Szoboszlai though. He's going to come up with 10 assists according to Football Manager. If that is the case, that is a fantastic first season for Liverpool. Obviously, at the start of every season, everyone thinks they are a genius when it comes to picking a football team, but only some people can actually go on to prove it. So I want to prove to you that I know more. Fantasy 5 is a free-to-play fantasy football game where every week you pick 5 players from 5 select matches that you think are going to overperform. If all 5 of the players that you pick overperform, you win £5,000. Remember, this is a free-to-play game as well. Each player has a points target. For example, Michael Elise's is 6.5. If he scores a goal, he picks up 5 points, and if he plays more than 60 minutes, that's another 2, and a total of 7, meaning he's outperformed his fantasy points target of 6.5. Do that with 4 other players, and you win yourself £5,000. This is my team, which is going to win this week. Szoboszlai's in the team thanks to these Football Manager predictions. You can sign up and pick your team for free from the top line of the description. And once you've done that, this is the code on screen that you need to join the TomFM Has More Ball Knowledge Than You League. Then I can prove once and for all that I am better than all of you. It's actually going to be funny when I wipe the floor with all of you. I can't wait. Back to Football Manager and into the Championship, where Leicester and Leeds have got promoted ahead of Southampton in third, who lost in the playoffs to Norwich. I'll be honest, I didn't think Leeds would actually get second place. I think they'll be in the playoffs, but I suppose they'll probably slip up somewhere along the way. Sunderland and Ipswich both seem a little bit too low for me in 20th and 21st, but I can't really disagree with Rotherham getting relegated. I think QPR and Huddersfield are going to be right down there come the end of the season, but they came 9th and 12th in this simulation. Heading down into League One, I like to think I'm a bit of an expert here because I'm a Lincoln City fan. I think Bolton and Derby are going to be the 2 teams getting automatic promotion. Barnsley will be up there, Portsmouth will be up there. But in Football Manager, it's actually Blackpool who win the title ahead of Derby County and Bolton in third. But Port Vale go on to win the playoffs, which I don't think anyone is predicting anywhere. Lincoln City in 11th place, that's exactly where we finished last season, so if that happens again, I think I'll be happy. I think Cambridge will go down, I suspect Stevenage might struggle a little bit, I think Carlisle will do better than 24th, I think Wigan will be right down there, and I think Reading are going to be right down there too, but they've both got big financial issues, so that's probably going to be why. But actually, I think that's relatively accurate. I don't think that's a bad shout from Football Manager. Heading into League 2, where I'm not too clued up, but I do know Stockport are going to win the title. and Football Manager doesn't agree with me. Stockport County in 4th place, 2 points off the title. I did forget Gillingham have had their takeover. They spent big, so they will do well this season. Forest Green came down, but they were rubbish last season in League One, so I don't think they'll get promoted. Wrexham in 10th place, which feels about right, but Notts County in 19th feels way too low, even if they did get drubbed 5-1 on the opening day of the season. Barrow and Swindon getting relegated. I don't think either of those teams will be in trouble. I think Crawley will be, and Accrington have lost some of their better players, and I think they also could be in trouble too. Into the National League, and this is where I can't really pretend to be much of an expert anymore because Lincoln City have been out of that for a long time, but I do know Chesterfield should win the title, and Football Manager thinks so as well. But I am very pleased to see Dagenham and Redbridge in 4th place, and the league's top scorer being Charlie Kendall because he's on loan from Lincoln City. So if that does happen in reality, that's a great season for him. National League North, apparently Scunthorpe are going to win it, so they probably won't because they are rubbish, but I would like to see Darlington get promoted. It feels like they're a blast from the past. And then in the National League South, I don't really know much about many of these teams or how good they actually are, so make of that what you will. Hemel Hempstead Town, you're getting promoted. Before we go to the biggest leagues in Europe, let's check out Scotland, where Celtic are going to beat Rangers to the title, with Motherwell, Hearts and St Mirren picking up European places. Aberdeen fans are going to be fuming. Also a really poor season for Hibs if they come in 8th place. In the Championship, Dundee United win the title ahead of Ayr United, who I've got an interest in this season because they've got Lincoln City right wing back Elisha Rahui in on loan. So if he has a good season at Ayr United, that would be marvellous. And in Scottish League One, Cove Rangers win the title ahead of Falkirk. And I've also got an interest in Falkirk because they've got Lincoln City goalkeeper Sam Long on loan, and he's ended up with the most player of the matches and clean sheets in the league. And if that does happen in reality, that would be insane. La Liga now, and it's Real Madrid who are going to win the title ahead of Barcelona, which I think will probably happen this season given just how strong Madrid are now. Going to be a great season if you're a Getafe fan, but not so great if you're a Valencia fan, down in 10th place and still not back in European football. Also, if Celta Vigo go down, that does feel like a bit of a shock if I'm honest with you. Espanyol are going back up to the top flight though, alongside Elche, and Real Valladolid and Levante are going to play in the playoff final. Apparently I've not simulated far enough into the future to get that result, so Levante win. Whoa, Napoli have won a second Serie A in a row, beating AC Milan by a single point. You know what? I reckon I can see that. Napoli have done so well to keep most of that team together that was so good last season. I will be surprised though to see Inter Milan drop off to 6th place. Obviously Champions League final last season, they're a very good side. I don't think they'll finish as low as 6th. I think they'll challenge Napoli and AC for the title. Spezia, Pisa and Sampdoria though are getting promoted back to Serie A this upcoming season. Commiserations to Parma fans, still not there. Fans of German football, obviously Bayern Munich are going to win that title again by a long way ahead of Dortmund, with RB Leipzig in 3rd, but Werder Bremen in 4th feels like a bit of a wild card to me. I'll be very surprised if Bayer Leverkusen finish as low as 7th place, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Union Berlin drop back down the table after such a successful season last time out. Good news for Hertha Berlin fans though, you are winning the title and getting back up to the Bundesliga alongside Hanover and Schalke. Hamburg fans, well, it's another season in the 2nd division. Heading to France, and PSG will win the title but only by 4 points ahead of Marseille, but quite a long way ahead of Monaco. Rennes will do well, Lyon will do well, and apparently Lens are going to be right up there as well. I will be surprised if Lille are as low as 11th place. I think they will do better than that this upcoming season, but Toulouse, Metz and Brest all getting relegated. As for the 2nd division, well, Bordeaux are getting promoted, so are Angers, SCO and St Etienne, and there's a playoff for the other two. What are these teams playing for in a I don't know how this league works, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a visual glitch because there's no extra games for these clubs. I would love to see Paris FC get promoted though, and I'd also love to see Bastia get back to the top division, but they are down in 17th place and getting relegated. Before we go on to the big European competitions, there are a selection of other leagues that I want to have a quick look at. In Austria, it's another season of success for RB Salzburg, who dominate ahead of Rapid Vienna. In Belgium, Antwerp top the table in the regular season, but in the closed season end games, Anderlecht go on to win their first title for what feels like a long time. Anderlecht fans, if you win it, I'll be so happy for you. Ajax are going to go back to winning the Eredivisie this season, with PSV Eindhoven in second place and Feyenoord dropping down to 5th. Legia Warsaw are going to win the Polish Ekstraklasa ahead of Rakow and Lech Poznan. Porto, Benfica and Sporting dominate Portugal with a massive points gap to Braga and Vitória in the positions below. If this happens, it will be massive in Switzerland, as Servette are going to go on to win the title by a point ahead of Young Boys. It's going to be a really poor season for both of the Zurich clubs. And in Turkey, it's Fenerbahce winning it by 6 points ahead of Galatasaray, who are miles ahead of Trabzonspor and Besiktas. Hopefully your favourite club didn't get relegated. Aston Villa are going to win the Europa Conference League this season by beating Genk in the final. They'll beat Molde, Midtjylland and Besiktas on their route to winning the trophy. Liverpool are going to beat Atletico Madrid in the Europa League final, although I will say this is still using the old format for the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. Next season is the new format where Atletico Madrid wouldn't be able to drop down from the Champions League into the Europa League. So actually, that final won't happen. But Liverpool winning it is a huge possibility. They've got to be favourites for it. But finally, in the Champions League, it's Barcelona who are going on to win the trophy, beating Man City in the final. Now, I don't think Barcelona are going to go on to win the Champions League. I don't think they're quite good enough. But I certainly think Man City are good enough to go on to win it twice in a row. They are such an incredible team. My big prediction this season, I back Man City to do the treble again. I think they'll do it. But if you want to see me destroy Man City, that video is on screen for you right now.